Hello students, now let's start our new chapter. Chapter 9, Introduction to C++. The main concept you are going to learn in this chapter: history of C++, character set, lexical units which is known as tokens, IO operators, execution of C++ program, C++ development environment, data types, variables and expressions, data type conversions. So first let us see what is C++. What is C++? C++ is one of the most popular programming language which supports both procedural and object-oriented programming paradigms. So it is most popular programming language. It supports both procedural and object-oriented programming paradigms. So this C++ is called as hybrid language. Okay. It is also called as what? Hybrid language. Next topic is history of C++. C++ was developed by Johannes Stroustrup at AT&T Bell Laboratory during 1979. C++ is originally derived from C language and influenced by many other languages like Simula, BCPL, ADA, ML, CLU and Algol 68. So who developed C++? Johannes Stroustrup. Johannes Stroustrup named his new language as C with classes. The name C++ was coined by arithmetic where ++ is the increment operator. Okay. Next topic is benefits of learning C++. C++ is a highly portable language and is often the language of choice for multi-device, multi-platform app development. It is object-oriented programming language and it includes classes, inheritance, polymorphism, data abstraction and encapsulation. The C++ has a rich function library. It allows exception handling, inheritance and function overloading which are not possible in C. C++ is a powerful, efficient and fast language. It finds a wide range of applications from GUI applications to 3D graphics for games to real-time mathematical simulations. So these are the benefits of learning C++. Next topic is character set. What is character set? Character set is a set of characters which are used to write a C++ program. The character set is nothing but set of characters which are used to write a C++ program. A character represents any alphabet, number or any other symbol. Okay. These all the characters mostly available in the keyboard. See here, some of the characters are given. Alphabets A to Z, uppercase and lowercase. Numeric means 0 to 9. Special characters plus, minus, multiplication symbol, division symbol and so on. White space means blank space, horizontal tape, carriage return, new line, form feed. And other characters are C++ can process any of the 256 ASCII characters as data. Okay, 256 ASCII characters or other characters. Okay. Next topic is lexical units. This is very important topic. Okay. So this lexical unit is also known as tokens. What is token? The smallest individual unit in a program is known as token, or you can call it as lexical unit. The smallest individual unit in a program is called as what? Token. It is also called as lexical units. This C++ provides 5 types of tokens. What are they? Keywords, identifiers, literals, operators and punctuators. What are the 5 types of tokens? Keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, punctuators. Let us discuss them one by one. First let us see about keyword. Keywords are the reserved words which convey specific meaning to the C++ compiler. Keywords are the special words, okay, so reserved words which convey specific meaning to the C++ compiler. The keywords are essential elements to construct C++ programs. Most of the keywords are common to C, C++ and Java. Okay. And C++ is a case-sensitive programming language. So, all the keywords must be in lowercase because C++ is a case-sensitive programming language. See here, these are the keywords. You cannot use these keywords as normal identifier or normal variable because these are the reserved words. Okay. Next one is identifier. Identifier are the user-defined names given to the different parts of C++ program such as variables, functions, arrays, classes and so on. These are the fundamental building blocks of a program. Every program has specific rules for naming the identifiers. So these identifiers are the fundamental building blocks of a program. Identifiers are not keywords. Keywords are not identifiers. Okay. So you cannot use keywords as identifiers. Similarly, you cannot use identifiers as keywords. User can define identifier, but user cannot define keywords. Okay, because keywords are available in the C++ library file. Okay. The C++ language has specific rules for naming the identifiers. What are they? See the rules. First rule is the character of an identifier must be an alphabet or underscore. The first character should be alphabet or underscore. You can start the first character as an alphabet or underscore. Next point is only alphabets, digits and underscore are permitted. Other special characters are not allowed as a part of an identifier. So when you are writing identifier, you can use alphabets or digits or underscores, but you cannot use other special characters. Okay. Next one is C++ is case sensitive as it treats upper and lower case characters differently. C++ is a case sensitive programming language. So it treats uppercase letters and lowercase letters differently, which means uppercase A and smaller case a is different here. Okay. This is on A, this is another on A. So it is called case sensitive programming language. And next point is reserved words or keywords cannot be used as an identifier name. You cannot use keywords as an identifier name. Okay. See here, valid and invalid identifiers. Num, this is valid. Uppercase num, this is also valid. Underscore add, this is also valid. Because the first character of an identifier must be an alphabet or underscore. You can start with underscore also. Okay. So underscore add is a valid identifier. Next, total underscore sale, this is also valid. And Tamil mark, this is also valid identifier. See next, num hyphen add, this is not valid identifier. Why? Because only alphabets, digits and underscores are permitted. Other special characters are not allowed as a part of an identifier. So here hyphen is used. This is special character. So you cannot use this special character as an identifier. So this is invalid identifier name. Next, this is also invalid identifier because this is one of the keyword. Keyword cannot be used as an identifier name. Okay. This is a keyword. So you cannot use it as an identifier. Okay. Next, see to my file. This is also invalid identifier. Why? Because identifier name must start with an alphabet or underscore. Here identifier starts with the number. So this is invalid. Okay. So this is about identifiers. Next token is literals. Literals is also called as constants. Literals are data items whose values do not change during the execution of the program. Constants means what? Does not change. Okay. So constants are data items whose values do not change during the execution of the program. So it is called as literals. You can call it as constants. The constants are divided into 4 types. What are they? Numeric constants, Boolean constants, character constants, string constants. Okay. Numeric, Boolean, character, string. Here numeric constants is divided into two types. What are they? Integer constants, real constants. So first let us see about numeric constants. Numeric constants is divided into two types. What are the integer constants? Next one is real constants, or you can call it as floating point constants. So what is integer constant? Integers are whole numbers without any fractions. Normal integers, okay. Whole numbers without any fractions are called what? Integers. The integer constant must have at least one digit without a decimal point. Okay, without a decimal point. It may be signed or unsigned. Signed integers are considered as negative number, and commas, blank spaces are not allowed as part of it. Okay. In C++, there are three types of integer constants. What are they? Decimal, hexadecimal, octal. Okay, decimal, octal, hexadecimal. What is decimal number? Any sequence of one or more digits, which means 0 to 9 digits. Okay. Octal digits means any sequence of one or more octal values, which means 0 to 7 values. Okay. And hexadecimal means any sequence of one or more hexadecimal values, which means 0 to 15. Next, real constants. It is also known as floating point constant. A real or floating point constant is a numeric constant having a fractional component. Okay, fractional component. These constants may be written in the form of fractional form or exponent form. Okay, you can write it as in the fractional form or in exponential form. Next literal is Boolean literal. Boolean literals are used to represent one of the Boolean values, true or false. Either true or false. Internally, true has value 1 and false has value 0. Okay, true means 1, false means 0. So Boolean literals having one of the Boolean values either true or false. And the next literal is character constant. Character constant in C++ is any valid single character enclosed within single quotes. Okay, single character is enclosed within single quotes is called as character constant. See, some of the valid character constants are given. A, it is given within single quotes, and 2, this is given within the single quotes, and dollar symbol, this is also enclosed within single quotes. So these are the valid character constants. And next, some of the invalid character constants are given. A, double quotes. So this is invalid because it is enclosed within double quotes. Okay, a single character is enclosed within single quotes is called character constants. Okay, if you are giving double quotes, it is not character constant. Okay, the value of single character constant has an equivalent ASCII value. Okay, it has equivalent ASCII value. For example, the value of A is 65, the value of B is 66, the value of C is 67, and so on. Next constant is string literal. The sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes are called string literal. A single character is enclosed within single quotes is called character constant, whereas sequence of characters are enclosed within double quotes are called string constants. Okay. By default, string literals are automatically added with a special character \0 at the end. Okay. Therefore, the string welcome will actually be represented as welcome \0 in memory. And the size of this string is not 7 but 8 characters. Okay, which means last character is what? \0. This is the 8th character. And see some of the valid string literals. A double underscore, welcome double underscore, 1 2 3 4 double underscore. These strings are given within the double quotes. So these are the valid string constants. These are the invalid string constants. What are they? Welcome, single quotes, 1 2 3 4 single quotes. So these are the invalid string constants. Next topic is escape sequences. Non-printable characters are also called as non-graphic characters. What do you mean by non-printable characters? Non-printable characters are those characters that cannot be typed directly from the keyboard during the execution of the program in C++. For example, backspace, tabs. These are the non-printable characters. Okay, what are they? Backspace and tab. These non-printable characters can be represented by using escape sequences. An escape sequence is represented by a backslash followed by one or more characters. Okay. See here, some of the escape sequences are given: backslash a, backslash b, backslash f, and so on. Okay, these are the some of the escape sequences. Next token is operators. Operators are what? Symbols. Okay, the symbols which are used to do some mathematical or logical operations are called as operators. Okay, the symbol which are used to do mathematical and logical operations are called what? Operators. The data items or values are called operands. Okay, operands are also called as what? Values or data items. Okay, here values are what? 5, 6, a, b. These are the operands. Plus minus are the operator. Okay, so 5, 6 are the operands, plus is the operator, a, b are the operands, minus is the operator. Okay, in C++, the operators are classified on the basis of number of operands: unary operators, binary operators, ternary operators. The unary operators require only one operand, only one value. Okay, binary operators require two operands, two values. Ternary operator requires three operands, three values. Okay, let us see the types of operators. First, let us see about arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators perform simple arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. The arithmetic operators are binary operators which require minimum of two operands. See here, some of the arithmetic operators are given: plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus. Modulus means what? Modulus operator is used to find the remainder value of the division. Okay. Next, increment and decrement operators. Plus is called increment operator and minus is called decrement operator. These operators are unary operators because it requires only one operand. Okay, only one value. So it is called as unary operator. The increment operator adds 1 to its operand and the decrement operator subtracts 1 from its operand. Okay. X and plus x is same as x is equal to x plus 1. It adds 1 to the present value of x. Similarly, x minus and minus x is the same as to x is equal to x minus 1. It subtract 1 from the present value of x. Next operator is relational operator. Relational operators are used to determine the relationship between its operands, which means it is used to compare two values, which means two operands. Okay, when you are applying relational operators on two operands, the result will be Boolean value either 1 or 0. 1 means true and false means 0. All the relational operators are binary operators, which means it requires two operands, two values. Okay, see here, some of the relational operators are given: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. These are the relational operators. Okay. Next, logical operator. Logical operator is used to evaluate logical and relational expressions. C++ provides three logical operators. What are they? And, or, and not. Okay, and, or, not. Here and, or are the binary operators, whereas not is the unary operator. Okay, so this is the and operator, this is the or operator, this is the not operator. Okay, its result will be the Boolean value either 0 or 1. 0 means false, 1 means true. Next operator is assignment operator. The assignment operator is used to assign a value to a variable which is on the left hand side of the assignment statement. Equal to is commonly used as assignment operator in all programming languages. It is also a binary operator. Okay. See here, plus is equal to, minus is equal to, multiplication is equal to, and division is equal to, and modulus is equal to. These are the assignment operators. Next operator is conditional operator. In C++ there is only one conditional operator, question mark and colon. This is called conditional operator, which is also called as ternary operator. It is also called as ternary operator. This operator is similar as if-else statement. Okay. See, some of the other operators are given. The comma operator, it is used to string together several expressions. The group of expressions separated by comma is evaluated from left to right. Next, size of operator. This is also called as compile time operator. It returns the size of the variable in bytes. Next, pointer operators, asterisk. This operator is used to point to a variable, and symbol, it is used to find the address of the variable. And next, component selection. This operator is used to direct component selector. This is indirect component selector. And next, class member operators. This is the scope resolution operator. This is dereference operator. This is dereference pointer to class member operator. Okay. Next token is punctuator. Punctuators are symbols which are used as delimiters while constructing a C++ program. They are also called as separators. Okay, it is also called as what? Separators. See here, some of the punctuators are given: curly braces, parenthesis, square brackets, comma, semicolon, colon, commands. These are called punctuators. Okay. These punctuators are used to construct a C++ program. Okay. So this is about tokens. Next, let us see about I/O operators. Input and output operators. Input operator. What is input operator? C++ provides the operator double greater than to get the input. This operator is called as input operator. It extracts the value through the keyword and assigns it to the variable on its right. Hence it is called stream extraction operator, or you can call it as get from operator. So this operator is also called as stream extraction operator or get from operator. It is the binary operator. It requires two operands. Okay. Binary operators require two operands, which means two values. Here two values are Cin and variable. This is one operand and this is another one operand. This Cin is the first operand. This is predefined identifier. It identifies keyboard as an input device. And this is the second operand, variable. To receive or extract more than one value at a time, this double greater than operator should be used for each variable. This is called as cascading of operator. See here, example is given: Cin double greater than num. Here predefined object Cin extract the value typed on the keyboard and stores it in the variable num. Okay. See the next example: Cin double greater than x and double greater than y. This is used to extract two values, which means x and y. Here Cin reads the first value and immediately assigns to that variable x, and next it reads the second value which is typed after a space and assigns that to y. Space is used as separator for each input. Okay. Next, output operator. C++ provides double less than operator is to perform output operation. This operator is also called as put to operator or stream instruction operator. So it is also called as stream insertion or put to operator. It is used to send the strings or values of the variables on its right to the object on its left. This is also binary operator, which means it requires two operands. So it is called as binary operator. Okay. Here Cout is the first operand. It is the predefined identifier Cout that identifies monitor as standard output object. The second operand is what? Variable or expression. See the example: Cout welcome. Here predefined object Cout sends the given string welcome to the screen, which means to monitor. Okay. And see the next example: Cout double less than the sum is equal to double less than sum. First, the cout sends the string the sum is equal to the monitor, which means screen, and then it sends the values of variable sum. Okay. Next example is cout double less than slash n, the area is equal to, and again double less than 3.14 into r. Here first cout sends the area is equal to the screen, and then it evaluates the expression 3.14 into r and sends the result to the screen. Okay. Next example is cout double less than a plus b semicolons. Here cout sends the sum of a and b to the output screen. Okay, output screen is what? Monitor. And the next topic is cascading of I/O operators. The multiple use of input and output operators such as double greater than and double less than in a single statement is known as cascading of I/O operators. So, if you are using input and output operators for multiple times in a single statement, that is called cascading of operators. Okay. First see cascading cout. Int num is equal to 20. Num value is what? 20. This is integer value. So, data type is int. Next cout double less than a is equal to double less than num. Here the output operator used for 2 times. First, cout sends the string a is equal to the screen, and then it sends the value of the variable num to the screen. Okay. Next, see the cascading cin. Cout enter 2 number. Here you have to enter 2 numbers from the keyboard. Okay. Cin double greater than and a double greater than and b. Here first cin reads the first value and immediately assigns to the variable a, and next it reads the second value and assigns to the variable b. Okay. Next topic is sample program. A first look at the C++ program. See, first double slash is given. This is the command statement. Okay. Any statement that begins with double slash are considered as commands. Okay. Compiler does not execute any command as the part of program. The compiler ignores these commands. Okay. And the next hash include IO stream. Usually all C++ programs begin with include statements starting with a hash symbol. Okay. This symbol is the directive for preprocessor. That means these statements are processed before the compilation process begins. Here the header file is IO stream. This header file IO stream should include in every C++ program to implement input-output functionalities. Next, using namespace standard, it tells the compiler to use standard namespace. What is namespace? Namespace collects identifiers used for class, object and variables. This namespace provides a method of preventing name conflict in large projects. Next, end main. This is the main function. This main function is the starting point where all C++ program begins their execution. Therefore, the executable statement should be inside the main function. Okay. Within the curly braces, statements are given. Okay, executable statements. This is actually called as block of code. Here, cout welcome to programming in C++ means cout simply sends the string welcome to programming in C++ to the screen. And semicolon means the every statement is terminated with a semicolon. Okay, you have to write semicolon here. And return 0 means here return is a keyword which is used to return the value what you specified to a function. In this case, it will return 0 to the main function. Okay. Next topic is execution of C++ program. To execute C++ program, you have to follow 4 steps. What are they? Creating source code, saving source code with the extension .cpp, and next step is compilation, and next step is execution. Creating source code means what? Typing and editing the valid C++ code. Okay. After that, you have to save the source code. When you are saving the source code, you have to save that C++ code with the extension .cpp. Okay, .cpp. This is the extension of C++. Okay. After saving the source code, you have to compile your code. This is the important step to construct a program. In compilation, the compiler links the library files with the source code and verifies each and every line of the code. If any mistake or error is found, it will throw the error message. If there is no error, it translates the source code into machine readable object file with the extension .obj. Okay. And next step is what? Execution. The final step is execution. In this stage, the object file becomes the executable file with the extension .exe. Once the program becomes an executable file, the program has an independent existence. That means you can run your application without the help of any compiler. Okay. So after that, you will get the output on the screen. Okay. Next topic is open source compilers. There are many open source compilers available. See here, some of the open source compilers are given. In this chapter, we are going to see about Dev C++ compiler. Okay. Let us see working with Dev C++. It is an open source cross-platform, full-featured integrated development environment distributed with GNU General Public License for programming in C and C++. You can download this Dev C++ compiler from this website. After that, you have to install this compiler. After installation, Dev C++ icon is available on the desktop. Just double click to open that compiler. So this is the Dev C++ compiler. If you want to create source file, you have to select the option from the file, new source file option. Okay. You have to click on the file menu, select new source file option. Otherwise, you can use keyboard shortcut Ctrl+N. Okay. After that, type the C++ program in that screen and save the file. How will you save the file? Click on the file menu and select save option. Otherwise, you have to use keyboard shortcut, which means Ctrl+S. Okay. When you are saving your source code, it will add .cpp by default at the end of your source code file. No need to type .cpp along with your file name. When you are giving file name, the .cpp file extension will be added by default. Okay. After that, click execute option, then select compile or run option. Okay. Otherwise, press F11 key from the keyboard. If your program contains any error, it displays the errors under compile log. If your program is without any error, the compile log displays like this: error 0, warning 0. Okay. After successful compilation, the output will appear in the output screen. See here, this is the output screen. The output will be displayed in this screen. Okay. The next topic is types of errors. There are three types of errors in C++. What are they? Syntax error, semantic error, runtime error. Let us discuss them one by one. Syntax errors means what? Syntax is a set of grammatical rules to construct a C++ program. Every programming language has a unique rules for constructing the source code. The syntax errors occur when the grammatical rules of C++ are violated. Example, if you type cout welcome to programming in C++ like this, it will show the error message because all the statements in C++ terminate with a semicolon, but in this statement semicolon is not given. So this is the syntax error. Okay. Next is semantic error. Sometimes the program has not produced the expected result even though the program is grammatically correct. It may be happened by wrong use of variable or operator or order of execution and so on. This means the program is grammatically correct but it contains some logical error. So this error is called semantic error. It is also called as logical error. Okay. Next error is runtime error. A runtime error occurs during the execution of the program. It occurs because of some illegal operation that takes place. For example, if a program tries to open a file which does not exist, it results in a runtime error. Okay. So these are the types of errors. Next, let us see about C++ data types. What is data type? Data type is nothing but the type of the value. Okay. Which means type of the data. In C++, the data types are classified as three main categories. What are they? Fundamental data types, user-defined data types, and derived data types. What are the three types of data types? Fundamental data types, user-defined data types, and derived data types. What are user-defined data types? Structure, union, class, enumeration are user-defined data types. Users can define his own data type is called as user-defined data type. What is fundamental data type? Fundamental data types are integer, character, void, float, double. These are the fundamental data types. Fundamental data types are also known as basic data types. Okay. So what is derived data types? The data types which are derived from fundamental data types are called derived data types. What are they? Array, function, pointer, reference. So now let us see about fundamental data types. Okay, fundamental data types also known as built-in data type, or you can call it as basic data types. Okay, these data types are the predefined data types available in C++. There are 5 fundamental data types in C++: character, int, float, double, and void. First let us see about int data type. Int data type is integer data type. It accepts and returns only integer numbers. Okay, it accepts integer values and it returns only integer values. If a variable is declared as an int, C++ compiler allows storing only integer values into it. See this example, int a is equal to 10. Here a is the variable, 10 is the value of variable a. Here 10 is the integer value. So this variable a is declared as int data type. Okay. Next, character data type. Character data type accepts and returns all valid ASCII characters. Okay. Characters means A, B, C, D and so on. Okay. See this example, character CH is equal to A. Here A is the character value. So this will be stored in the data type character. Okay. So what is the ASCII value of character A? 65. Okay. Next data type is float data type. If a variable is declared as float, all the values will be stored as a floating point values. See this example, float num is equal to 13.4. If you are adding decimal point between integers, that number is called floating point number. Okay. So if you want to store floating point value, you have to declare float data type. Okay. Next, double data type. This is for double precision floating point numbers. Precision means significant numbers after decimal point. Okay. The double is also used to handling floating point numbers, but this type occupies double the space than float type. That means more fractions can be accommodated in double than float data type. Okay. Next, void data type. Void means empty space. Okay. Which means null. Here in C++, the void data type specifies an empty set of values. Empty set of values. It does not return any value. Okay. Let us see this program. C++ program to get an ASCII value and display the corresponding character. Hash include IO stream. This is the header file. Next, see the statements. Int n. N is the variable. You have to enter the integer value because that is int data type. Okay. Character ch. This is character data type. You have to enter the character for ch variable. Next, cout enter an ASCII code 0 to 255. So you have to enter the ASCII code from 0 to 255. So you are entering 100 for n variable. So C in n, and the next ch is equal to n, which means you have to assign the value n to the character ch. Okay, which means you have to find out the ASCII value of the given integer value. So n is what? 100. So its equivalent character, cout equivalent character ch, its equivalent character is what? Lowercase d. Okay, it will be printed on the output screen. Next topic is variables. Variables are user-defined names assigned to specific memory locations in which the values are stored. Variables are nothing but memory locations that can be used to store the values. Okay, it is also called as identifiers, and hence the rules for naming the identifiers should be followed while naming a variable. See, a is equal to 2. Here 2 is the value and a is the variable. So the value 2 is stored in the variable a. So here a is called memory location. Okay, see, this is the syntax for declaring a variable. First you have to declare the data type and next write the variable name. Okay, int num1. Int num1 means num1 is the variable name, int is the data type. Okay, you have to enter the value for this variable num1. You have to enter integer value because this is int data type. Okay, so here 3 variables are given: num1, num2, sum. You can declare more than one variable of same data type int, but you have to separate that variables by comma. Okay, next topic is initialization of variables. Assigning an initial value to a variable during its declaration is called as initialization. Assigning an initial value to a variable during its declaration is called as what? Initialization. See, examples are given. Int num is equal to 100. Here num is the variable, int is what? Data type. 100 is integer value. If you want to store the integer value 100, you have to declare int data type. See the next one, float pi is equal to 3.14. 3.14 is the floating point value. Here pi is the variable. So if you want to store floating point value, you have to declare float data type. Okay, and see the next value, double price is equal to 231.45. This is the double value. If you want to declare this value, you have to use double data type. Okay, so if you want to declare a variable, you have to first declare the data type of the variable. Next, let us see about dynamic initialization. A variable can be initialized during the execution of the program, that is called dynamic initialization. For example, int num1, num2, sum. Num1, num2, sum are the variables, int is the data type. You have to store the integer values here. Okay, see here, sum value is initialized during the execution of the program. Here sum is equal to num1 plus num2. So you have to add the values of num1 and num2, store that value in the sum variable. Next topic is formatting output. Manipulators are used to format the output of any C++ program. So to format the output of C++ program, the manipulators are used. Manipulators are functions specifically designed to use with the insertion and extraction operators. C++ offers several input and output manipulators for formatting. Commonly used manipulators are end, L, SETW, setfill, setPrecision and setf. Okay, see this example here, \n is given. It is used to move new line. Okay, see the second line here, \n is not given but end L is given. This end L is used as line feeder in C++. It can be used as an alternative to \n. In other words, end L inserts new line and then makes the cursor to point to the beginning of the next line. So the backslash n is used to insert only a new line, but endl is used to insert a new line and then makes the cursor to point to the beginning of the next line. Okay, this is the difference between endl and backslash n. Okay, next topic is expression. An expression is a combination of operators, constants and variables arranged as per rules of C++. It may include function calls which return values. See the types of expressions. There are 7 types of expressions present. What are they? Constant expression, integer expression, floating point expression, relational expression, logical expression, bitwise expression, pointer expression. What is constant expression? Constant expression consists of only constant values. Okay. Here int num is equal to 100. Here 100 is a constant value. This is a constant expression. What is integer expression? The combination of integer and character values and variables with symbol operators to produce integer results. See here, sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Average is equal to sum divided by 5. Here num1 plus num2 is the expression, integer expression, okay, and sum divided by 5 is also integer expression. Okay, you have to evaluate these expressions and store the values in the variables sum and average. Okay, and next float expression, the combination of floating point values and variables with a simple arithmetic operators to produce floating point results. See here, area is equal to 3.14 into r into r. Here 3.14 into r is the floating point expression. You have to evaluate this expression and store the result in the area variable. And next relational expression. This expression returns either true or false, which means either 1 or 0. Here x is greater than y. This is the condition. You have to evaluate this condition. It returns either 1 or 0. Okay, it returns either true or false. See the next expression. You have to compare these two expressions. A plus b is equal to c plus d. You have to compare these two expressions. Return the result in the form of true or false. Okay. Next, logical expression. Here the logical operators are used to produce the boolean values as results, which means either true or false. See here, this is a logical expression. Logical operators are and, or, not. These are the basic logical operators. Here and operator is used. You have to compare these two expressions using and operator and returns the result in the form of true or false. Next, bitwise expression. The combination of values or variables with bitwise operators. Here this double less than, double greater than are called bitwise operators. Next, pointer expressions. A pointer is a variable that holds the memory address. It is used to find the memory address of the particular variable. Here asterisk symbol is used to declare the pointer variable. See here, int asterisk symbol, next ptr. See the next topic, type conversion. What is type conversion? The process of converting one fundamental data type into another is called type conversion. Okay, if you want to convert one fundamental data type into another fundamental data type is called type conversion. The C++ provides two types of conversions. What are they? Implicit type conversion and explicit type conversion. What is implicit type conversion? An implicit type conversion is a conversion performed by the compiler automatically. Okay, it will be performed by the compiler automatically. So this implicit conversion is called as automatic conversion. Okay, what is explicit type conversion? C++ allows explicit type conversion of variables and expressions from one data type to another specific data type by the programmer. So this type of conversions will be done by the programmer. So it is called as type casting. Okay, see this program, example program. This is a header file within the main function double where f is equal to 178.2525 etc. See the statement cout float var f, which means you have to print the value of var f variable. Okay, which means floating point value. So it will be printed like this 178.253. Okay, And see the next line, cout int varf. Here you have to print the varf variable integer value. What is the integer value? 178. Don't take the values after the decimal point. Okay, only take integer values. What is the integer value? 178. It will be printed out like this. Okay, so this is about type conversion. I hope you understand. Thank you, students.